come down here and you see this. It says, will tackling really improve for real? We've all heard this for years now, and the results have been lacking. I am cautiously optimistic, but I'm concerned about cornerback run defense. Are we going to be physical for 4 quarters? The answer to both of those questions will be an emphatic no. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football back at it again. Happy Monday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be updated on everything college football, pro football, Madden, EA college football, NFL draft, anything related to American football, hit the red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Also the like button too, and follow on Twitter/X. That fam is growing. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys, here we are on Monday. We just had another. And again, I feel like I've said this like 10 weeks in a row, but if we're being honest here, we've had 10 good weeks of college football. This past week did not disappoint either. So, looking at that, let's go to the rankings here because we saw a couple teams. Again, a couple of those top teams were kind of challenged a little bit here. A couple of them fell off. We'll go into that right now. Here we are with the college football rankings for Week 11. So obviously Georgia winning against Missouri at home, number 14 team in the country, still doing great there. Michigan won again. I know despite the whole scandal, all that, they do have that big matchup at Penn State this next weekend. Then Ohio State, Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Penn State, and so Alabama big win versus LSU. One of the teams that is not on here now, as you come down here and check that out, they're down here at 26th, 27th, and 28th is the USC Trojans. You might ask, what USC? They're so good. What happened to USC? Well, they just gave up a few points is what we'll say. USC versus UW. It was a heavyweight fight heading into it, and we knew this was going to be an absolute crazy game here. So in the first half, at the end of the first half, it was 35-28. Absolutely a slobber knocker of an offensive performance here. Defenses definitely took a little bit of a break there. Washington played a little bit of defense, but you see here the stats on this game. So Michael Penix was at 22 of 30 for 256, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 90 QBR. Caleb Williams had an 89 QBR. Good for him, 312 and 3 touchdowns. And USC had 200 rushing yards on the ground. However, Washington had 300 rushing yards on the ground, including 4 touchdowns, 256 yards, 9.8 yards per carry, and 4 rushing touchdowns to Jalen Johnson. The USC defense just had big issues with them all night, and they've had big issues the entire season, which ultimately culminated in this. Here we go, just today on Sunday again. For me, I'm filming early. USC fires defensive coordinator Alex Grinch with 2 games left. Coming down here and see this. After USC surrendered 101 total points in the last 2 games, defensive coordinator Alex Grinch was relieved of his duties. Coach Lincoln Riley announced Sunday. Grinch, who's Oklahoma defensive coordinator from 2019 to 2021, before leaving alongside Riley to USC. He led a unit that allowed an average of 34.5 points per game this season and was in the bottom 30 in the country in nearly every statistical category, including 120th in rush defense and 107th against the pass. In a statement sent via a USC spokesperson, Riley named defensive line coach Shane Nua and linebackers coach Brian Odom as co-defensive coordinators for the rest of the season. And again, you can see the fact right now, it just has not been going well for them. As a matter of fact, it's been a rumor right now that it's kind of been, it was a foregone conclusion he was going to be let go. Seeing that right here. One source close to the program told ESPN after Saturday's game that Grinch was, quote, for all intents and purposes, done at USC. While some thought Riley would wait until after the season to let him go, the coach waited less than 24 hours to make the move. After suffering its second conference loss of the year, USC now needs to win out and needs much help to have a shot at qualifying for the Pac-12 title. And again, that's probably out of the question at this point. I do think that right now the Pac-12 is kind of beating up on itself. Washington and Oregon are separating themselves. I do think that Washington could probably lose another game, but they do have to win that Pac-12 championship game if they play Oregon again. Either way, Washington and Oregon seem to have separated themselves from the pack. Arizona, my boys, Jed Fish, doing pretty good too. But again, this is about USC firing Alex Grinch and checking them out because you've seen it the entire season. It just has not been what they wanted it to be. So they've been giving up points for some time now. San Jose State, well, I said they were going to cover in that game. They actually did cover it. They gave up 28 points to them. They gave up 28 points to Arizona State, 41 to Colorado, 41 to Arizona, 48 to Notre Dame, 34 to Utah, 49 to Cal, and then 52 to Washington. So again, Washington is very good. Cal, Utah, Notre Dame, Arizona, Colorado, basically every single game that they played, other than Nevada early on in the season, they gave up a ton of points. Also did a good job against Stanford too. But for the most part, you could tell these guys, they were, right now, they're 1-3 in their last 4 games after starting off the season 6-0. They were projected to be a potential national title contender team. Not so much when you see this defense. And boy, oh boy, when you check them out, I mean, look at the bottom here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They have the 11th worst defense in yards per game allowed in the country, averaging 258 air given up and 186 on the ground. Simply not acceptable. But again, the crazy thing about this is Alex Grinch, who's been with Lincoln Riley since 2019 with Oklahoma, he's kind of been his go-to guy for defense. Checking out Lincoln Riley down here, and you come down here and check this out. So he started with Oklahoma here at 2017, but 2017, 2018, they had Mark Stoops out there. Mark Stoops left to go coach with his brother at Kentucky. Now they have Alex Grinch, who stepped in there in 2019. And again, the thing about that was the narrative was that Alex Grinch is stepping in there to help take over and improve the defense. And actually, in the short term, he did for Oklahoma. So this is, first of all, you know that people hated you because Wikipedia is a public site. It's where you can kind of edit things yourself. He has already been said he is a football coach who previously served as a defensive coordinator. You know that USC players and USC fans came in here. They edited this thing as fast as possible to make sure that it was known that he's no longer the DC. But again, that's what they do here. Coming down here and check this out. So this is what the paragraph says here. So check this out. In January 2019, Grinch joined Lincoln Riley's staff at Oklahoma as the defensive coordinator. He spent 3 years with Sooners and was able to help a defense that finished 101st in scoring defense and 130th in pass defense under former defensive coordinator Mike Stoops. I think I said Mark Stoops, who would be fired after giving up 48 points to rival Texas. Well, Mike Stoops was fired after giving up 48 points to rival Texas. Well, unfortunately, Lincoln Riley was fired after giving up 52 points to University of Washington. And I wanted to check something out here to see if there was a large discrepancy in something. As with many of you who might know, if you guys understand the way that hurry-up offenses work, is that there's kind of a dual-edged sword. If you hurry up on offense, your defense typically has to be on the field for a little bit longer. So I checked the time of possession chart here to see what was going on, to see if there was a huge discrepancy. Oh, USC only has the ball for 20 minutes, and their defense has to play for 40, something like that. It doesn't actually point that out. It turns out right now, USC this year is giving up, they have the ball for 27 minutes and 56 seconds. And last year it was 31 minutes and 56 seconds. So again, it was above, they won the time of possession battle last season. This season, not so much. But you see the fact that even back at Oklahoma, it was kind of the same thing too. So for those of you who are trying to say, oh, well, it's just because they were hurry-up offense, back in 2019, when Oklahoma was there, they had the ball for 29 minutes and 16 seconds, and the previous season, 31 minutes, 48 seconds. You can definitely tell it's not some crazy time of possession discrepancy. It's just they didn't play very well on the field. An article that was actually released before last season articulated this, the fact that, like, are they going to be able to handle a couple big things? And these questions would be foreshadowing the fact that they would answer no to many of these questions. So checking this out here on on3.com, this is one of free articles. So again, I don't know if you're going to be able to check this out or not, but again, it says defensively speaking, Alex Grinch's defense. And they reviewed a couple things here. The first thing they kind of reviewed over was the fact that they showed the fact that they like to run a 3-3-5 or 3-4 defense, sometimes even a 3-3-5 look, something like that. 3 guys up front. You're going to have a nose tackle, guys over the tackles, things like that. They run that formation quite a bit here. You'll be able to see this here. They'll have the 3 guys with their hands in the dirt and have a linebacker over the tight end and so on. They run a 3-3-5, 3-4 variant of some type. But think about this. These are the questions that they were asking before the season started. Last season, this is August of 2022. They're asking these questions. Check this out. Come down here and you see this. It says, will tackling really improve for real? We've all heard this for years now, and the results have been lacking. I am cautiously optimistic, but I'm concerned about cornerback run defense. Are we going to be physical for 4 quarters? The answer to both of those questions will be an emphatic no. And unfortunately, if you check out what they have coming in, and again, this is just this year's class, the next year's class so far is ranked number 19th. They've got a couple top 300 players, but you see the fact they've got, what was it, edge guy right here, top 60. We've got Taka Curtis, top 150 player. We've got Malachi Crawford, top 200 player. They've got plenty of talent on defense coming in. Linebacker here, 4-star guy, DJ Peavy. But remember here, despite the fact they've got plenty of talent coming in, ultimately Alex Grinch and his defense was not able to get it done. You even see it here on the 247 Sports website saying that he got fired. Again, plenty of talent, lots of players there to work with there. Can't get it done. Alex Grinch is the scapegoat for that. And here is a good article asking the big question here, who is going to take over if they ultimately let go of Alex Grinch? And again, this article over here was filed out October 23rd, so a week and a half ago or something like that. They basically said, oh yeah, who are we going to say? Maybe get David Aranda. He might be fired. I don't know if they said that his tenure at Baylor isn't going the way that you want to. Remember, USC is a very high-profile brand. They are able to take a head coach of another brand and bring them over. Whether or not it's Dave Aranda, I don't know. They said Dave Aranda. They said John Heacock. One of the guys I really like here, Jim Leonard, the Wisconsin, defensive coordinator, a guy out there. Also mentions Gary Patterson with that 4-2-5 defense, the dual safety, the dual deep safety look, whatever it is. Ultimately, I think there was one guy down here that I actually did like, and then two guys that weren't listed on here that I think they should go with. The one that I liked the most here out of all these names in this article was Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp is currently the co-defensive coordinator at Georgia. He gets to take over and be at USC, really get in there and get his hands with a ton of talent. Joining the Big Ten, we'll see what he can do, but that might not be a bad one. But there's two names that were not listed here that I think they should take a strong consideration of because of the current defense that they had and because of kind of the direction of this. I want to check out these two names. First of all, starting off with an OG, Mr. Rocky Long. So for those of you who don't know who Rocky Long is a legend out there. He is long known for a successful adaptation of a modified 3-3-5 defense. I know people might be saying, the 3-3-5 defense is what got us into this. No, I'm letting you know right now. The 3-3-5 defense is one of the cooler innovations to adapt to, modern college football. And again, it was originally designed to stop two-back offenses, physical play, this and that, create multiple levels of defense. The free safety in that, if you remember the Lobo backer, was originally Brian Urlacher back for New Mexico. As you can see here, this guy is a New Mexico aficionado here. You see the fact he's been there forever, was a defensive coordinator from 1998 to 2008. Well, he was the head coach, excuse me. But he's been in, Oregon State, UCLA, New Mexico, San Diego State, New Mexico, and then ultimately went out to Syracuse. Kind of a weird one there. I think he'd be a perfect guy to come in. He's going to be 74 in January, but again, come out there, some nice good weather. Yeah, you might have to play on the road, at Purdue late in the season or something like that. But Rocky Long, super knowledgeable. You will not find a more knowledgeable guy available out there right now. Knows the 3-3-5 defense. Wouldn't have to completely gut this team. I wouldn't mind this one. Another one, which would require a little bit of, let's just say, stealing from a fellow Big Ten team, is going over to Nebraska. So Nebraska right now is ironically having a decent season on defense. Tony White comes over here. He is a fantastic defensive coach, ironically, from Syracuse. Syracuse had that 3-3-5. He left. Rocky Long comes in and takes over for the 3-3-5. As you can see, when people have this scheme, they want to make sure they can continue it. I think he's doing a really, really great job. This would be a strong arm move of a same division guy, because remember, Big Ten to Big Ten next season, Tony White, pull him over from Nebraska to USC. It's got a little bit better weather out there. I think I would do that if I was Lincoln Riley in USC. It is simply not acceptable to give up 101 points. Washington is very good. 52 points. Sometimes it's going to happen in college football. But 49 points and a 2-point conversion away from losing at Cal, that is not acceptable either. So what you want to do, I'm telling you right now, they need to find a way to make it work with how many freakazoid athletes, Bear Alexander, Damani Jackson, they've got plenty of good dudes on this USC defense. They have to find a way to make it work. Alex Grinch couldn't. The next guy should, because Lincoln Riley, next season, Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, lots of good teams coming up. They got to get this defense figured out before it gets real tough next season. All right, guys, you get in the comments right now. Alex Grinch, who would you replace him with? You guys let me know. You guys get in the comments and let me know. And remember, please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.